Hey everyone, Fox here from Fox & Kit Woodworks, and today we're going to do a little bit of a re-review on two of our tools. We just did a review on one of them less than a month ago, right around a month ago, and that is our Cutech tools. So right now I have the 12-inch Cutech jointer up. I've been using it a bunch lately. We've had a bunch of different projects, and I'm getting ready for Father's Day and 4th of July coming up. As you can see over here, I've got a lot of wood that I've already been using on it, and I've been using it for about a year and a half, and I figured, you know what? We should go ahead and do kind of a re-review and just see how it's holding up in the shop. And then on the other side over here, we've got their 13-inch 2-speed spiral head jointer that I'd like to go over again and just kind of give you a shortened, condensed version and show you it actually in action. We're going to turn our shop vac on, and we're going to just start face joining this first. Okay, now that we got those done, we're going to do edge joining on some of these. These guys don't need to get edge jointed because these are going in the laser engraver. They just need to get thickness planed, and they're going to be cut out into our bottle openers. But just to show you guys, I'm doing this at a 64th of an inch. I've done it up to a 32nd, no problems, especially with maple and even the walnut. But let me just show you how flat they're turning out. Hey everyone, Fox here from Fox & Kit Woodworks. Now I know that you've been watching this video, and I just want to make sure to let you guys know, best way to help support our channel is by hitting that like, subscribe button, and sharing with your friends, and if you can, hit that notification button so you'll see what comes out next. Now, one of the things I really do like about this, especially with the spiral head setup, is that it comes out super smooth. I mean, 120 to 180 grit. If you're taking off about a 64th at a time, you're not going to get too much tear out or chip out. I kind of use those words interchangeably because technically, unless you're using a helical head, they're really kind of chippers, not cutters. But we'll just say tear out for all you guys. Occasionally you do. I have soft maple that I'm working with, so I do get some tear out because there is some parts that are offshooting from branches and whatnot that is end grain and it does tear out. But that's how simple it is for this. We're going to go ahead and run through a little bit more before we get over to the planer and start getting all these other guys edge jointed so that way they're all ready for our table saw. Now, an important part on this, make sure you label which side's jointed so you come back later and you have it right. And check the grain. One way will get you more tear out, the other way won't. As you can see, perfectly square, no gaps. We are looking good all the way. And one thing I want to talk about is how well this thing actually has held up and worked. This has been on this cart the entire time, and it gets rotated around and moved on wheels, in and out. It bumps over a couple different things in the driveway. You know, I gently roll it around, but sometimes it's hanging at an angle, kind of like this guy down here, and I have not had to touch this fence at all and readjust it. And for it to hold up on a cart like this, moving around, rolling around, I think that's a very, very good sign of like how quality this is made and put together and how stable it is. They have lots of supporting braces on the inside of this. I do have the original aluminum fence on this, the extruded aluminum fence. It's held up really well. If you're working with bigger items or you want to make sure it stays very true and doesn't get any wonks in it, they do offer a cast iron fence that I am looking at getting in the near future, and then I'll be doing a review on that. But most people, when I see people pick this up, especially using my affiliate links, which is my reminder to you all, since you're watching this video, links in the description and QR codes throughout the video for these tools so you can help support the channel by clicking on those when you look to buy a tool. That cast iron fence, though, is super solid, taller, a little bit longer, going to add a lot more weight to it, but also a lot more stability. There's some beefier mounts for it. I think it's a really good investment. Anytime I've had a lot of the purchases come through my affiliate links, I get to see what people purchase. I don't know who purchases it, but what they purchase. And most commonly, the three things that are purchased together are the joiner, the fence, and these push blocks. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you are using a joiner, buy the push blocks. The reason why is If you're using your bare hands and you're going over the top of this, I know it's not unplugged, but I'm not going to touch the switch. If you're going through and you do get a kickback and that wood goes shooting across, your hand's going to dive right in here. Now, right here, it's not too bad. You're going to lose about a 64th of an inch of skin. But if your finger goes into here, you can take the whole tip off. All right, now I gotta say, this thing has been amazing and awesome. It's held true. I've only made one adjustment. I moved this screw up barely a turn because it was, I don't know, something I just want to be a perfectionist about. It was still within their tolerance. If you go to their manual, they have a thing where it shows their gapping. I think it's like 1/1000th of an inch. It clearly was within that, but I just wanted to, you know, make it just a little less, and it has been good. The fence has stayed true even through multiple rotations and bouncing at 90 degrees. But before I go any further into the planer, which we're going to jump to next, I want to talk about how to properly joint. Now, I know there's plenty of videos out there. I've learned from other ones, such as Katz Moses, 731 Woodworks. There's a bunch of other guys out there, and I'll tag them in the description so you can see their things. But the big thing here is you want to joint a face and then an edge. And you want to do a face and an edge. They're obviously going to be 90 degrees. This does not plane things the thickness or make it perfectly square around. The reason why is if your board is twisted and you face joint one side, then you roll that jointed side up against the fence for its reference, you will have a true 90-degree corner. Now, if you rotate it over to the next face side and you try to run it through, the problem is there's still a twist on the top, and it's not going to be in alignment or parallel with the side you already jointed. Now, you could technically do the other edge off of it since you're referencing the same face, but that's what our table saw is for. We're going to usually rip it down to size on the table saw. When using this, one of the big things you got to think of is how you want to put pressure on it. Now, I used to be a guilty person of this. I wouldn't put the pressure on it correctly. I would put the board in and I'd kind of keep pressure evenly over it. The problem is that since this is lower and this is higher, if you put pressure here, you're going to either bow that wood or slightly kilt it off. So as you make your cut, it's normal and then it's going to lift up and you're going to get this kind of rolling effect on your wood. What you want to do is as soon as you get it into the blade and enough wood on the outfeed table, which is your reference table, put the pressure there and then push the other piece across. That's why I really like this micro jig. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not affiliated with them. I can get you the links on Amazon and I'll put those in there for you. But the micro jig push block with these little tabs here, I really do like. You put it on the back, hook it in your piece of wood, and you can just directly push forward with a slight downward pressure just so it doesn't move on you and it has some grip with this. But then you can feed it through and you can get your two jointed edges. As you saw, I just used my hands on this. There's no other way about it. Use your hands on this. Just be very careful and mindful. Let's go ahead and get over to the planer. Okay, everyone, and we are back. Today is the planer day. Now, one thing about this planer is that it is 2-speed, which is nice. There's a little knob here. You might not be able to see it, but if you go check out my review video, I go in full detail on it. But basically, we can go low speed and high speed. High speed gets it through fast, takes off material quicker. Low speed slows the amount that the board goes through, and it makes it more of a finished planing. Now, on this, we're going to be setting it at about 3/4 of an inch and then taking it down as necessary. But let's go ahead and get to show you how it works. Okay, again, big thing is make sure you mark your wood. This is the jointed side with my little J there. You can do whatever mark you want. And what we're going to do is just take it down so it's nice and smooth, and then we're going to end it there. We're going to do one board at a time through it and make sure that our setting is correct, and we're going to run it all through so they're all even. Okay, now as you can see, we're getting a nice clean board. I have noticed one thing recently. There has been just a little bit of a line here, and I'm guessing that's just one of the blades that's all this extra use has maybe kilted it or maybe put a little bit of a nick in it. You're gonna get these little bits of lines when you use these spiral heads, but overall this is very smooth. If you feel the spots where these two lines aren't, I mean, you're talking like 180 grit, but taking a 180 sandpaper is gonna remove that out super fast, speed up your sanding process. We're gonna end up coming back and we're gonna take a look and just see maybe what's causing this one. Maybe that one blade is a little loose and that's why it's not cutting it down as deep, but we'll make that adjustment. Okay everyone, so while I get you zoomed in here and all set up, what you can see is there's a little finger mark there, and I'm gonna try to get you a little closer on this. You see my line right there, and that looks like it's lining up with this blade right here. Now, looking at the blade, you can kind of see, and I'm going to try to get the best focus for it as possible. See that little dull spot on the right side of that blade? I think that's what's causing our little bit of a high spot. So, cool thing with this is these are rotatable blades, so you don't have to have a replacement. I do need to buy a replacement set, and they're very easy to get set up. All we have to do is come over here with our Torx, put it in here, take it off, and I have turned the machine off. And this will give us a chance to take a look at the blade and how you can figure out which blades you've rotated. Okay, and there is our culprit right there. See that right there? See that little bit right there? That is what's causing the high spot. There's just a slight chip in this blade. Maybe it went through a hard knot or something, and that's what caused it. Now what we can do is, this blade was in this position. We can rotate it this way and set it in, and now we'll have a nice clean blade. That notch really isn't that bad. It's easily sandable, but just to make sure everything's right, we're going to go ahead and change it out and also show you how these blade changes work. There's a flat side here, and there's even a notched groove in here. So one of the things you want to do is make sure it's cleaned out. So I've got myself a plastic bristle brush. I'm just going to knock any dirt and debris out of there. And then I'm going to take this blade and get it in here. Actually, I'll do the bolt. The bolt is really what secures it and lines it up. That flat part with the notch is in there to reference this bar, and this bar is grooved. And we're just going to put it in there and make sure it's up nice and tight as we tighten it. First, we're going to finger tighten it, and we're going to make sure it's just holding it in place. We're going to make our final adjustment. Be careful, these are sharp blades. And we're going to make sure that it is nice and set in there correctly, and then we're going to come back and try it again. And if you were wondering what happens when you don't put the dust extractor on, that's what happens. And there we have it. Fixed it. Okay, and there we have it. That is the Cutech 13-inch 2-speed spiral head planer doing its job. Now, as you saw, we did run into a little bit of a problem. But again, the high spot on it with that little line was very insignificant. It was probably a 64th of an inch, if that. Again, very easy to sand out. Before that, though, ran smooth, didn't have any of those issues. You will see some lines, but the lines aren't typically easily felt. They'll just notice from the way it's cutting. Kind of like if you ever use a, what's it called? Like a true flattening jig, or like router flattening system, or like a CNC, you'll notice that there's waviness from it going back and forth. That's just the way it's cutting and where it's going. If it's out of cant or not leveled correctly, then you'll start getting gouges and stuff. But so far, it's working great. It was a very easy fix. Easiest way to identify that is put a piece of board through, see where the line is, make a mark on your table, kind of just eyeball it, reference it up, and then spin the spiral head, make sure the machine's off, Always make sure the machine's off and unplugged, and then figure out which blade it is and start inspecting them. Very easy solution to find there. Totally made it an easy fix. We're back in business running. So that is our re-review of the Cutech joiner and planer. I will have a bunch of links in the description for you guys to be able to purchase your own. Also for some other additional pieces with like flex amounts and other items that I might have on Amazon that I highly suggest. All right, that concludes today's Cutech video. I really do like both of these machines. I think they're definitely worth the value. So would like to say thank you all for following along. And if you haven't already, please hit that like, subscribe, notification button. Best way to support the channel is by doing that, and share it with your friends. Stay safe. Have a great day.